Nevada's first choice for news. This is 8 News Now at 11.
A disaster zone in southern Nevada. Washed out freeway, homes surrounded by water, and a cleanup process that's just getting started. Chopper 8's been busy surveying the problem areas. Overton is the latest place to get washed out as floodwaters came rushing downstream from Moapa, which was pounded by storms yesterday. And in Moapa, the damage so severe that it's now under a state of emergency. Thanks for joining us. Paula's off tonight.
Well, Governor Sandoval made the emergency declaration tonight for Clark County and the Moapa Paiute Tribe Reservation. So that frees up both state and federal funds for cleanup, and there's a lot of cleanup. We want to give you a look at why that money is needed. Let's start first in Moapa, the area which has been hardest hit. According to FEMA, it saw more than its average yearly rainfall in just a few hours. People had to be evacuated from the Paiute Reservation that is now under a state of emergency. Chopper 8 also showing us how dangerously close water got to homes, turning yards into rivers. The next problem came when that water started flowing downstream toward Overton. Now, this animation shows the next disaster zone there. The Clark County Office of Emergency Management reports 30 homes in Overton flooded. The muddy water also left behind a mess of rock, dirt, and debris that's clogging up roads. Now, the I-Team obtained some pictures from the Quail Hollow Farm in Overton. Viewers there tell us the flooding did threaten their livestock, but they were able to get all of the animals to higher ground before losing any of them. Even so, you can see just how high the water rose around those pens.
Now, to help you understand just how bad the situation really is, we've done a little research. FEMA helped our reporters dig into some flood facts that put things into perspective. First things first, we're told the majority of homeowners along the Muddy River in Moapa live in a FEMA flood zone. That means they're required to have flood insurance, so that should help them down the line. And you'll know they need it once you hear this number. The Weiser Wash north of Moapa picked up 4.67 inches of rain in just 4 hours yesterday. As we mentioned about a minute ago, that topped the area's average yearly rainfall. And another thing to consider, the Regional Flood Control District says this summer storm put a damper on a $13.5 million project they were working on to cross the Muddy River. Flooding damaged a flood channel and part of a bridge with that project. Another major impact from the flooding is the ongoing closure along I-15. This main artery for truckers and anyone trying to get into Utah is closed from near Apex all the way to Moapa. That's because raging floodwaters tore away a stretch of the freeway, leaving the pavement split into chunks. The Nevada Department of Transportation is trying to get the northbound lanes repaired by this weekend, but they say work on the southbound side will take even longer. When we asked how this could have happened, this was the response we got.
Because this is more than a 100-year flood. If we designed for every possible event like this, we can't build freeways. It'd be so expensive. We have to build a bridge at every area.
Clark County had teams up and down the 15 today helping assess the damage. Their findings are part of what helped the governor make that disaster declaration. Now tonight, our own Vanessa Murphy is continuing our coverage along Interstate 15 near Moapa Valley Boulevard. Vanessa?
Dave, we have new information from Nevada Highway Patrol tonight. Cars heading northbound on I-15 can go to exit 75. Now, we're at exit 93. This is where cars heading southbound to Vegas have to get off, where the 15 essentially shuts down. So for cars, many are having a tough time still getting to where they need to go. And for people living down the road here in Overton, they're having a tough time just trying to go to their homes.
I was just amazed that it had got that extreme.
Jeremy Byers shot this video as floodwaters rushed near his home Monday.
I'm like, how could this happen?
He says his family and home were safe.
I told my mother-in-law to get the kids and get my wife and get out of there, and I kept sandbagging.
Sandbags weren't enough for some houses down the road, though.
You just got to deal with it the best you can.
Metro Police say they rescued family members by helicopter Monday night after they were stranded as their home was surrounded by water.
This is where everything backs up to. We always get flooded.
Monty Kessel says his home is left with significant damage. Will you stay here?
Yeah, there's not much else you can do. It's not like anybody's going to come by your house when it's flooded.
This flood control project at the Muddy River is underway. Byers says it may have helped save his house.
Hopefully eventually they'll get that channel to come all the way past their home.
But Kessel is waiting for flood control where he lives.
You know, the only thing that could be done is, you know, to finish the flood diversion.
Now families like Kessel's are focusing on cleanup.
It'll take a while.
Back here along I-15, travel routes are different for trucks and passenger vehicles. For example, NHP says northbound only cars can get to exit 75. For trucks, it's exit 74. And again, where we are at exit 93, alternate routes between here and Las Vegas would be Valley of Fire and North Shore Road. Reporting live, Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
All right, Vanessa, thanks. We want to expand on what you just mentioned by reminding truckers they have even longer delays because they have to use US 93. The Nevada Trucking Association says companies must carry on so customers can get their freight. However, we're told the route is adding as much as 4 hours to their trip, and that has got some concern that drivers may exceed their restriction of driving 11 hours a day. Well, traffic was also a mess in Lincoln County, and sources told the 8 News Now I-team that's creating a potentially dangerous domino effect. The Lincoln County Central Facebook page shared this picture showing this backup, wow, stretching for miles. This is in Panaca. Here's what you can't see. Sources tell us there is so much traffic, it is jamming cell phone towers, making it nearly impossible for anyone to make a phone call. And that means if needed, people may not even be able to reach 911.
Oh. The I-team has also learned of a potential environmental problem as a result of all the flooding. We told you yesterday, flooding at the Reed Gardner power plant caused widespread power outages in the Moapa Valley. Here's some file video of the plant. We now know NV Energy is looking into whether coal ash from the plant leaked into the water supply. An NV Energy official did tell us there was 6 feet of water in the parking lot at Reed Gardner yesterday during the peak of the storms. The company maintains evaporating ponds containing coal ash were not compromised, but just to be sure, they tell us they'll be testing the water. Given the power outages and widespread flood damage in the Moapa Valley, the Red Cross has deployed volunteers to help there, doing everything from distributing food to going door to door in the hardest hit areas. A spokesman tells us tomorrow volunteers will try to reach every home in Moapa, Overton, and Logandale. They'll be going in with caseworkers to assess the damage and what each family might need to get by.
If they need shelter, we'll send them to our shelter, which is already there in Overton. And if they need food or clothing or cleaning supplies, we're coming out there with that or the money to do so.
Now, you mentioned the shelter in Overton, which our crew got a chance to check out today. It wasn't crowded tonight, but volunteers told us 10 people did stay overnight last night. So if you need a place to stay, the shelter is located at MacLyon Middle School. The Red Cross says it's not too late to head there.
A lot of times families don't show up until much later. I've been to quite a number of disasters, and sometimes it takes a day or so for it to really sink in, and of course they want to save whatever they can as quickly as they can.
And she told our photojournalist in Overton tonight the Red Cross estimates up to 100 homes there may be severely damaged. So if you decide to still head to the shelter, there's a few things to keep in mind. Make sure to bring an ID. And remember, it's only for people, not for pets.
And we do have a final note to pass along tonight for parents in the Moapa Valley. If you have a child who attends Ute Perkins Elementary, you need to keep them home tomorrow. That school is closed because of the flooding. Other schools, though, in the Moapa and Virgin Valleys that were closed today will be back open tomorrow. But if you can't make it safely because of the road conditions, your son or daughter will be excused. They understand. All right, still ahead, caught in the middle of Moapa's mess and faced with what looked to be certain death.
We didn't know where each of us were or what was going to happen.
8 News Now uncovers one couple's story of survival with a look at the simple things some bystanders did that saved their lives.
You're watching 8 News Now at 11 with Paula Francis and Dave Carvassier. The news of Southern Nevada is now.
It's surreal. You just fight to stay alive.
A near-death experience caught on camera. And tonight, the couple who survived against this raging wall of water is telling their story to 8 News Now. Well, that couple was headed through the Moapa Valley yesterday en route to an extended vacation in the Midwest. What they did not expect was dangerous flash flooding to not only delay their commute, but nearly cost them their lives.
Yeah, they described the ordeal as 10 minutes of a free fall, clinging to life as their van plunged over a wall of water. But thanks to some good Samaritans in the right place at the right time, the Millers tonight are safe and sound. Monday's drive along I-15 in Moapa went from a neatly planned trip to a near-death experience in mere minutes for Lauren and Margie Miller of Fresno. A quick stop for a cup of coffee turned disastrous. They were trying to merge back onto the freeway and ran into several strong streams of water.
The second one we came to, there's no way. We're going, this is too much, it's fast, it's high.
Torrential rain came down fast, putting the Millers in the middle of a waterfall before they knew what hit them.
It was like a spin ride. We just started going down and then down a canyon, and we did a dip into the water and all kinds of stuff.
Johnny Dukeman, a truck driver from Arizona, was nearby with his camera rolling.
And that guy just got swept up in the water.
He watched in horror as the Millers' minivan tumbled over a cliff of water.
The van was floating down the water.
What he didn't know was the Millers had made it out of the van. But that's when the real struggle began.
I had doubts at first that she was going to survive it because she was washed away.
Lauren says the current was so strong it ripped off the door he and Margie were clinging to. She swam to safety, and that's where the heroics came in.
There's about 7 people on that highway that were the real heroes because, you know what, they jumped out of their cars. They got police department out there to see the car going down.
An officer met Margie to make sure she was okay. Lauren, still left behind in the swelling current, was pulled to safety just in the nick of time by a team of 4 construction workers who saw what was happening and jumped into action.
You couldn't get any footing to run or move, and all this. And these guys came and they got a rope, and they threw me a rock with a rope on it. When I dove, those 4 guys were pulling up that slope, and I felt myself they were taking me across it.
Police took Lauren to a nearby shelter to reunite with Margie. It's a moment both say they'll never forget.
So glad to see you alive, really. Just thankful
we
to
were
the
so
Lord,
thankful. We're just thinking about it like, what a blessing. It doesn't happen that way for everybody.
Johnny Dukeman's video captures another trucker. You see him pictured here in that yellow shirt. He jumped into the torrent to help. The water also sucked him over the ledge, but he survived. There he goes. Millers told us a handful of people have even helped them today to claim what belongings they could find. A couple plans to take those good Samaritans and the construction workers who saved their lives out to dinner to say thank you.
Man, it's just amazing how quickly things can
Just
turn.
like
That's
that.
why they say turn around, don't turn.
And you look at it and you're thinking, there's no way they can survive that. Really, someone's really looking out for them.
No kidding.
I mean, I've seen situations like that where the people don't make it. So they're really lucky that for sure. Yeah. All right. So we're drying things out. All the rain has moved out of the area, and now we have a nice 7-day forecast. There's still some flooding concerns, obviously, up towards Moapa and up towards Overton. They had a flood warning that expired at 9 o'clock because of the situation there. So things are improving, and now we're getting ready for a nice 7-day forecast. Another cool day today because of all the moisture in the area. You have to remember the dew points yesterday were in the upper 60s and lower 70s. Now today it was still humid outside with dew points in the mid 40s, but we really didn't have any activity on the radar, and that was good news. So the official high today, 92. That's still 5 degrees cooler than it should be. The normal high is 97. We're now 2 weeks away from the end of summer and the start of fall. That'll happen on the 22nd later on this month. So here we go. Henderson, you're at 81 degrees. Green Valley, you're at 80. It's a cool night out there. By tomorrow morning, how about 72 out the door at 7 a.m. The Lakes at 83 as well as Summerlin currently. We'll take it down towards Laughlin at 84. Prim, you're in the upper 70s only. Prump, you're at 80. You got 70s and 60s to the north here. Pioche, you're at 57. And Boulder City, their current temperature at a nice cool 81 degrees. So there's the satellite and radar. All the monsoon moisture now is pushed off towards the east, but look at this. If you're traveling over towards the Midwest over the next day or so, look at all this rain here. Overnight threat for flash flooding. This is some very strong storms here. A lot of flooding here. This is moving from an area of low pressure along a cold front here. So we're seeing some rain in Nebraska into portions of Iowa, now heading over towards Chicago. And this rain here is going to dump about maybe maybe 5 to 7 inches, maybe in the next 24 hours. So all that rain slowly pushing off towards the Midwest. The humidity is out of here, so we're getting ready for the nice dry air to stick around here for a good maybe 5-7 days here. Lots of sunshine outside tomorrow. Nice and cool tomorrow with a high right around 92, a lot like today. And the 7-day forecast looks very, very nice. Lake Mead tomorrow should be beautiful with highs in the mid-90s. Laughlin a little bit warmer at 100. You're going to head up towards Mount Charleston. Look at Mount Charleston tomorrow, only in the mid-70s. Perfect weather there. And the river at the high tomorrow should be up near 90 degrees. Forecast tomorrow, you get plenty of sunshine. Again, the normal high should be 97 degrees. I think tomorrow maybe in the lower 90s again. Then we start to warm up. So Thursday, 96. Friday and Saturday getting closer to 100 degrees as we head towards Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And again, today officially now 2 weeks away from the arrival of fall. Dave, back to you.
Thanks, Darren. And all of us here at 8 News Now want to extend a thank you to every viewer who chipped into the local flooding recovery effort today. We teamed up with our Community Pride partners and the Red Cross to host a phone bank to raise money. Tonight, we can tell you that we collected $5,570. So thanks to all who donated. If you missed the chance to call in, you can still give money directly to the Red Cross. Just call the number there on your screen, 702-369-3674.
Well, Dave, Arizona is still reeling from flash flooding that we can now confirm was deadly. Rescuers announced 2 women died during torrential rainfall that topped the record for a single day in Phoenix. Out in the suburbs of Mesa, crews spent today trying to keep floodwaters away from about 125 homes. Retention basins along US 60 exceeded capacity, and the overflow sent rivers running right through neighborhoods. That rising and fast-moving water is also blamed for the 2 deaths. Investigators say one woman drowned when her husband tried to drive across a flooded wash. The other died when her car was swept away in 15 feet of water and sank. We're getting word of breaking news. We'll have confirmation on that for you and be right back after this.
This is breaking news from 8 News Now.
Henderson police are just informing us they are in the lookout for a missing mentally challenged man. Take a look at your screen. Police say 45-year-old Herman Ramos, pictured here, left his home near Horizon Ridge and Mission Drive about 1:30 this afternoon, but he hasn't been seen since. Officers did an extensive search of the area but turned up no sign of him. So if you see this man, please call 911 right away. And we also have some breaking news coming from Metro Police tonight. They're investigating a deadly shooting near Bonanza and Mojave. Police tell us someone fired gunshots into an apartment. There were people inside. One person was killed, another was hit, but not seriously hurt. We do have a crew headed to the scene, so if we get an update during this newscast, we'll be sure to bring it to you.
And we're asking Metro Police for more information on why one of their officers shot and killed a dog this afternoon. Police tell us the dog was attacking a person in the area of Swenson and Twain about 2:30, but there's no word yet on what injuries that person suffered or who the dog belonged to. North Las Vegas police need your help tracking down the driver in a hit-and-run crash. Police tell us a driver took off from the scene near Horse Road and Decatur around 4:30 this afternoon. That person hit a motorcyclist, sending him to UMC with some pretty serious injuries. And now investigators are looking for a red Chevy Impala, kind of like this one pictured here, with damage to the right passenger side. They say it may have a UNLV or Hot Summer Nights license plate. So if you have information, call Crime Stoppers. The number is 702-385-5555. And Metro Police are hoping maybe you'll know something that can help them nab a robbery suspect who's been on the run now for over a month. Take a look at your screen. Police say this woman, captured on surveillance, robbed a business near Lake Mead and Jones back in July. They say she brandished a pair of needle-nose pliers and used them to threaten an employee. Police say she got away with several stolen items in her purse, but they don't know exactly what or how much they're worth. If you've seen this woman, please call Metro.
A South Carolina man is behind bars tonight, believed to be the prime suspect in the deaths of his 5 children. Authorities in Alabama found those bodies of the children today, and they range in age from 1 to 8. The children's mother reported them missing last Wednesday after she couldn't contact her ex-husband, Tim Jones Jr. He was their legal guardian. Jones was arrested Saturday in Mississippi on unrelated charges. Exactly a month after a white police officer shot and killed an unarmed black teenager in Ferguson, Missouri, The town's council met to discuss the matter in session tonight. And among the changes the town says it will make, the creation of a police review board to install more trust in law enforcement. Omar Villafranca reports.
Black people, we must unite.
Protesters shouted at Tuesday night's racially charged meeting of the Ferguson, Missouri City Council. Some raised their arms to symbolize an unarmed black teenager who was killed by a white officer exactly 1 month earlier.
When are we going to get rid of Ferguson City Council, mayor, and chief?
On August 9th, Michael Brown was shot at least 6 times by Officer Darren Wilson. Wilson said he acted in self-defense. The incident sparked weeks of demonstrations, some of them violent, amid charges of racism and police brutality. Last week, the Justice Department announced it is opening a civil rights investigation into the Ferguson police.
This is the first Ferguson City Council meeting since last month's shooting. City officials were expecting a large turnout, so the meeting was moved to this church, which holds about 1,300 people.
Some noted that for a town that is 70% black, its police force and government are overwhelmingly white.
Up there, for me, is taxation without representation.
The council promised a police review board and greater transparency to increase trust in the town's leaders and police force.
So you need to get ready, because this fight ain't over, it just started.
It's not going to be easy. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, St. Louis.
Well, Nevada lawmakers are preparing to make a big move of their own.
Yeah, we just got word that a special session will kick off tomorrow over the plan to bring Tesla Motors' new factory to northern Nevada. Now, last week, Governor Sandoval announced the car company would be building a $5 billion gigafactory just outside of Reno. As a trade-off, the state would give Tesla up to $1.3 billion in tax breaks and incentives over 20 years. During the special session, lawmakers will discuss the deal and decide whether or not to approve it.
Well, the best fighter in the world is stepping back into the ring. Floyd Mayweather meets Marcos Maidana this weekend at the MGM, and this is a bitter rematch. But is the fight really creating any buzz? That's next. Well, Fight Week brings a lot of buzz to our city, and today officially kicked off the week with fighter arrivals.
Chris Matthews was in the main MGM lobby today where fans showed up to cheer on their favorite fighter and asked the question, is this the fight fans really want to see?
Tuesday's arrivals set the stage for Fight Week. Maybe it's the calm before the storm. There may be some fireworks at Wednesday's press conference.
I'm going to make a good fight. You know what? I'm not dirty. If he starts being dirty, then I have to answer him. But I'm not a dirty person. I'm going to make a good fight.
The 30-year-old challenger isn't intimidated at all by the words of the unbeaten world champ.
Maidana throwing the lowest sticks.
I was fighting a very, very extremely dirty fighter. This time I don't think it's going to be as dirty.
A few hundred fans showed up for today's arrivals.
The second Maidana Mayweather.
That's right. That's right.
Like, it doesn't get any better than that.
I'm amazed because she knows and you don't. I let her speak for me.
I speak for him.
Not the numbers we'd seen in the past, so is there a buzz for this fight?
And this is Mayweather's town. Of course it's going to be a buzz here.
Mayweather always bring a buzz to Vegas, all the time. It's going to be a good fight. The first one was an awesome fight.
What do you like about Floyd Mayweather?
Oh, he's awesome. He's awesome.
A majority of the fans at the arrivals fall into the Mayweather corner. He's the king in the ring. Outside, he's dealing with other issues. His former girlfriend recently accused him of abuse, and a former friend, rapper 50 Cent, made fun of Mayweather's education.
Jealousy and envy comes with the territory. So my thing is this, you know, when people wish bad on me, only thing I try to do is I pray for them.
It will be interesting to see what happens at tomorrow's pose when they bring the two guys together, because there was some pushing and shoving a month ago on their media tour.
All right, thanks, Chris. Tomorrow's press conference is closed to the public, but Friday's weigh-in at the MGM course is open, kicks off at 2:30 that afternoon, and it's free to attend.
That's where they do all that showboating and, you know, up in each other's face.
Right, the attitude comes out.
Yeah, well, that's going to do it for us live tonight at 11 o'clock. Be sure to wake up with our morning team, starting dark and early, as they like to say, at 4 a.m.
David Letterman's next with Michael Strahan. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.